well. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. It's a match day 35, and Manchester United are in action up against Brentford at the G-Tech Stadium. We're going to be discussing a bit of that. Kickoff gets underway in just a couple of minutes. So there's a bit of team news for us to discuss, but allow me do the honors of having our audios tested before we get it all started, before we dive right into it, because we've got some interesting action coming up our way in just a bit. So I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Of course, the team, sheets are already out. We know about that and that kind of thing. So, but I wanted to say thank you to all our new subscribers. I wanted to say thank you to all those that have been joining our live broadcasts, those that watch the match data after we're done with the live broadcasts. Your time is much appreciated. We do really appreciate your efforts of supporting our channel to keep growing. So, yeah, continue to engage, continue to like and comment, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and everything. It looks like our audio is good to go. I was just testing that on here. And let's get right into the team news, because there are some changes that have been made to that Manchester United starting 11. And not to say that we did not expect some of them to be there, but yeah. Anyways, in the 4 p.m. kickoff, that's in about 8 minutes from now. Games that are kicking off: Manchester United away to Brentford, Brighton and Hove Albion up against Newcastle United. So those are the two games that I'll be keeping tabs on for purposes of this broadcast, while West Ham United are up against Tottenham Hotspur. And then later on at 6:30 p.m., Chelsea will entertain Liverpool. That's the champions of the English Premier League this season at Stamford Bridge. So without wasting much time, here are the team sheets already that are out for Manchester United. Like I said, Bruno Fernandez, Andre Onana, Casemiro are among those that have been given a bit of a rest. They get to start on the bench ahead of this fixture. So Brentford do have Mark Flacken in goal. They do have Mitchell Kayode. They do have Nathan Collins, Sepp van den Berg, as well as Lewis Potter there. They do have Christian Nogard. They have Yoha, and then they do have Brian Mbeumo. They do have Mikel Damsgaard, Kevin Shedd, and Yohan Wissa. Remember, Kevin Shedd was on target, as well as Yohan Wissa in their last victory against Nottingham Forest. That was on Thursday night in the Premier League. That game did come at about 9:30 East African time. And then on the side of Manchester United, they do have Altai Buendia in goal. They do have Matthias de Ligt, who does get back to the starting 11 for the first time since returning from that injury. And then Luke Shaw is in there in that back three. Then Tyler Fredrickson. Those formulates Manchester United's back three. That means Harry Maguire is also given a rest. Yoro is given a rest. While we all know that Lisandro Martinez, yes, is still out injured. In midfield or in the wing backs, as well as the midfield composition, is Manuel Ugarte alongside Kobe Maino, while it's Harry Amas, and Patrick Dogu on the other side. Mason Mount gets to start alongside Alejandro Garnacho. So Mason Mount comes in for Bruno Fernandes, as well as Chido Martin Obi gets to start there for Manchester United. Now, then on the bench, we do have Tom Heaton, that's for Manchester United, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Yoro, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, Rasmus Højlund, as well as Amadi Diallo. Now, if anything, I thought Amadi Diallo would get to start ahead of Alejandro Garnacho. Now, do remember that Manchester United do have that crucial return leg between them and Athletic Bilbao at Old Trafford next week on Thursday, with them leading the semi-final tie by 3-0 on aggregate score. So, anyways, on the side of Brentford, they do have Rico Henry, they have Ethan Pinnock, Ben Mee, Christopher Aja, Matthias Jensen, Yunus Emre, as well as Igor Thiago, Gustavo Nunes, among those on the bench, as well as Hakan. So if you're just joining us, kindly like the broadcast, kindly subscribe to the channel if you're new. Do let me know where you're joining us from, where you're streaming in from. Let's engage as we wait for kickoff there between Manchester United and Brentford, as well as Newcastle and Brighton. Guys, I can see we are 14 on the broadcast. So let me know where you're joining us from. Like the broadcast and kindly subscribe if you're new to the channel. Much appreciated for any time that you're taking to be with us this evening. Of course, like I said, Manchester United do have some injury concerns. Joshua Zirkzee is among those. Mazraoui is suspected to have suffered a knock during their last outing. Aiden Heaven out through a foot injury. Diego Dalot does have a calf injury, as well as Lisandro Martinez with a cruciate ligament injury, and then Toby Coyle with a leg injury. So, guys, like the broadcast if you're just joining us, and if you're new here, it's the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is my name. We're streaming right down from Kampala, Uganda. So I'm interested in hearing from you. How are you doing? What team do you support? How is your Sunday? Where are you joining us from? And that kind of thing. So then on the side of Newcastle versus Brighton, Hove Albion, of course, they do have but Verbruggen there in goal. They do have Mats Wafer, Lewis Dunk, John Paul van de Heek in that centre back pairing, as well as Pavis Estupinan there. Carlos Baleba, as well as Jack Heshelwood in that midfield. Then Yankuba Minte, Matt O'Reilly, Simon Adingra, and then Danny Welbeck leading the lines. On the side of Newcastle, it's Nick Pope, Tino Livramento, Dan Ban, Fabian Shah, as well as Kieran Trippier in there. Sandro Tonali alongside Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Willock, and then Harvey Barnes, Alexander Isak, and Jacob Murphy there to complete their starting lineup. That's for the side of Newcastle and Brighton and Hove respectively. My prediction as far as Manchester United and Brentford go, I do expect yes. Yes, Dragon Slayer. Hello, you were with us last night. Thank you for joining us once again, Dragon Slayer. They're a Liverpool fan, by the way. Their game does come much later in the day. That's at 6:30 p.m. When they make the trip to Chelsea, they're already champions. So all they have to play is for their pride, really, while Chelsea try to fight for a slot in next season's UEFA Champions League. But they also have an opportunity to qualify directly for the UEFA Europa League next season. But of course, UEFA Champions League would be the priority for Chelsea because that's where the most money is. I think that's the ambition that Manchester United do have in having rested some of their players in anticipation of that Thursday with our vast fixture against Athletic Bilbao. So that's pretty much about it. Yesterday, we all know that Arsenal lost to Bournemouth by 2-1. Declan Rice scoring his 15th career goal at Arsenal on his 100th appearance across all competitions, while you had Dinhausen score a header, as well as Evan Nelson's controversial goal that did appear to touch his upper arm or the elbow before hitting the back of the net to make it 2-1. So yeah, Bournemouth completing a season double against Arsenal for the first time. Remember, they had beaten up against Arsenal by 2-0 in the first leg in that fixture at the Vitality Stadium that saw William Saliba be sent off on that day. So that action was there yesterday in the Premier League's late kickoff. So plenty of action is coming our way. Like I said, our focus will be on the Manchester United game as well as that game between Newcastle and Brentford. So, and Brighton, Hove Albion, sorry, while Brentford are the ones at home to Manchester United. Last season, it was a 1-1 draw at the GTEC Stadium between Manchester United and Brighton and Hove Albion, but United won the reverse. It was a draw. Last season, yes, it was a 1-1 draw at the GTEC Stadium, but Manchester United managed to beat up against Brentford by 2-1 at home, just much as they did this season on 19th October, last year when they beat up against Brentford by 2-1. So they will be seeking to complete a double or a season double against this Brentford side for the first time, really, because last season but one, Manchester United beat them at Old Trafford by a mere goal to nil, while the reverse fixture had been a 4-0 defeat there for the Old Trafford outfit. So that's come our way. In terms of recent form, I think Brentford have it the better side, having beaten up against Nottingham Forest on Thursday by 2-0. They did beat up against Brighton by 4-2. Did share the spoils with Arsenal in a 1-1 draw and a goalless draw there between them and Chelsea, while their last loss came against Newcastle there away from home. So it was a 2-1 defeat against Newcastle. On the side of Manchester United, it is a mere 3 losses in the last 5 fixtures, as well as just 2 goals. So Manchester United are winless in their last 5 outings in the Premier League there. Of course, like I said, action is getting underway already, but their last game, Manchester United, was a 1-1 draw against FC Bournemouth. Rasmus Højlund scoring that late equalizer in stoppage time, I think in the 96th minute, to cancel out Antoine Semenyo's earlier goal. I can see Akaka says hi. Yes, Akaka, where are you joining us from? Do let me know what team do you support. We already have, Dragon Slayer. I do know he's from Pakistan. He's a Liverpool fan. So, Akaka, do let me know where you're joining us from and what team do you support. So, like I was saying, United, before the 1-1 draw against Bournemouth, they had lost 2 fixtures, 1-0 against Wolverhampton Wanderers and another loss to Newcastle by 4-1, while in there they also had a goalless draw with Manchester City, and of course that defeat at the hands of Nottingham Forest was also on their cards as well. So that's pretty much it. So we are down. We will be, diving into all that action. So what are they all playing for? Of course, Brentford think that they can still have a chance, maybe a shot at Europe, maybe the UEFA Conference League, if they can win all their remaining games. So there's a bit of motivation there. Manchester United, as far as the Premier League table is concerned, they are 15th. They do not have really much motivation to play for, besides attempting to finish at least within the top 10. But that seems to be a distant dream. They're only about 11 points adrift of the top 10. So clearly, it's a big ask if they want to pursue that goal. That's why I think all their priorities, without question or without doubt, are in the UEFA Europa League. That's where they will be concentrating all their efforts as far as we are concerned. So do let me know what your expectations are, what your predictions are. My prediction is that I do expect Brentford. I don't know why I keep saying Bournemouth. I do expect Brentford to win this fixture at least by 2-1, given the kind of teams that both teams have managed to field. So let's wait and see how that action does transpire in these coming fixtures. Maybe to give you a bit of statistics. Of course, we all know Mohamed Salah does lead the top scorers sheet with 28 goals. Alexander Isak at 22 brought Erling Haaland, who did return to action. Of course, Man City yesterday, on Friday, were 1-0 winners in their fixture there. So against Wolverhampton Wanderers, that was on Friday night. That goal scored by Kevin De Bruyne to win them the game. So Chris Wood is at a tally of 19 goals. Brandon Mbeumo there, a very dangerous man at 18 goals, as well as Johan Wissa at 17 goals. So what a striking partnership those two have had this season. Very, very effective. And Manchester United should be looking on how to neutralize their threat. That's Brandon Mbeumo as well as Johan Wissa. So because I do think they will be the biggest threat for that Manchester United backline. Can they be solid? We wait to see. We all know Matthias David has just returned from injury. So let's get right into it. Apologies. Action has already kicked off, of course. For those of you that are just joining us, for those of you that are following, I know, And by the way, Brentford have that knack of trying to get an early goal. So let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope. Oh, what a miss! What a miss! Kevin Shed does a miss there, an opportunity, a golden opportunity to put Brentford in the lead at least. That ball coming from down the right flank. Beautiful cross brought in. Johan Visa misses the header, and then Kevin Shed at the end of it, you know, fires it beyond the confines of the goalposts, and it's still nil. Like I said, at Altai Buendia is in goal for Manchester United. Andre Onana has been given a rest. So let's see how he performs today. Will it be? It's looking like it's a bit of a shaky start for Manchester United. They'll have to shake that off and get settled in the game. We're already into the 6th minute, but it is still nil-nil. I do have a bit of a time lag on my stream. Kindly bear with that. But let's enjoy the action. And see. I'm trying to see if I can get the action from the Amex Stadium, but my feed is having issues, really. So I'll simply switch focus to the West Ham versus Tottenham Hotspur game there, and we see. Brian Mbeumo, very deadly player. 18 goals this season and 17 for Johan Visa. Anyway, guys, allow me to wrap it here. Let's link up at halftime, possibly, or at full time. That's after these games and prior to the kickoff to that Liverpool Chelsea game. So allow me to wrap it here and wish you wonderful enjoyment of the upcoming fixtures or whatever match you are choosing to watch. Bye bye for now. Stay blessed.